In this lesson, we will focus on Piaget's theory. The famous Swiss psychologist Jean Piaget, born in 1896, carefully watched his own children's cognitive developments and then worked out a series of tasks to show the differences in the ways children think. After many years of gathering information, Piaget proposed that a child's cognitive ability moves through 4 distinct stages. The stages are the sensory motor stage, the pre-operational stage, concrete operational, and the formal operational stage. In each stage, the child has new abilities and ways of processing information. More recent research challenges some aspects of Piaget's theory, example, at what age certain changes usually occur. But his theories still give us a very important tool for understanding child development. According to Piaget, people actively build systems of meaning and understanding their reality through their experiences and interactions. They construct knowledge by continually assimilating and accommodating new information. Jean Piaget developed a theory of knowledge and of the cognitive processes through which people learn about the world. It is one of the most important psychological theories of the 20th century. Piaget's theory asserts that all knowledge is constructed through our action in the world. He argued that we could only know about things if we act on them. Very small babies, for instance, get to know the world around them by touching and tasting things, although exasperated mothers try to limit this guessing and acting behavior. As children get older, they literally get to know their world by moving about in it, learning to crawl, and then walking and bumping into things. Through these actions, babies learn what is hard, what is soft, what is heavy, what is painful, and what is not. Piaget argues that although the nature of the action changes, it continues to be very important for all thinking throughout our lives. Older children and adults also use physical actions, similar to those of the small child, to learn about the world. However, their actions happen more and more in the mental area of development through the act of thinking. This is how Piaget explained this point. Logical relationships are, first and above all, operational structures. Although their most advanced forms are certainly expressed by language, their origins are found in the coordination of a person's own actions. Even at the sensory motor pre-verbal level, a child is involved in activities that include uniting, ordering, introducing correspondences, etc. These activities are the source of operations and logico-mathematical structures. Piaget is an important educational theorist, so it is worthwhile spending some time understanding his ideas and their importance for teaching. In the reading section, you will find an article on Piaget's theory of equilibrium. Piaget first suggested that the development of knowledge occurs when we try to reach a state of equilibrium or balance between our previous knowledge and new things we find in the world. In the same way that a tightrope walker adjusts his or her physical balance, children mentally adjust and readjust their thinking in response to new objects and events. In other words, they change their schema of different things. Piaget identified 2 mental processes that enable all children to perform this balancing act, assimilation and accommodation. He argued, knowledge is not determined strictly by the knower or by the objects known, but by the exchanges or interactions between the knower and the objects, or between organism and the environment. The fundamental relation is not one of simple association, but of assimilation and accommodation. The knower assimilates objects to the structures of his actions or of his operations, and at the same time he accommodates these structures by differentiating them to the unforeseen aspects of the reality which he encounters. The process of coming to know things is not, in Piaget's words, having a static mental copy of the object. Children become knowledgeable by effecting transformations on what they are trying to understand, and by doing so, reaching some understanding of the mechanisms of these transformations. Here is a quick summary of the key points that have been mentioned. Children are active and motivated learners. Children adapt to their environment and through the process of assimilation and accommodation. Interaction with the physical environment is key for cognitive development. Interaction with other people is key for cognitive development. The process of equilibration promotes increasingly complex thinking. Piaget noticed that in certain age ranges, children's thinking changes quite substantially because of the reorganization and expanding of understanding that occurs in their natural development. Piaget believed that the structure of a child's schema undergoes systematic change at particular points of development. Piaget thus chose to break up the course of development into 4 stages. These reflect the changes in the type of schema available as a child develops and the way these schemas are organized into cognitive structures. Piaget believed that children think in qualitatively different ways in the different stages. Let's look at those stages again. They are the sensory motor stage, which is the 0 to 2 year child, the pre-operational stage, 2 to 7 years, the concrete operational stage, 7 to 11 years, and the formal operational stage, which covers 11 years to adulthood. According to Piaget, the rate at which an individual progresses through these stages is variable, but the sequence of the stages is the same for all children. We will study these stages in more depth in the next lesson. Find more detail on these stages in your reading section.